Alright, what's poppin' YouTube? And a special shout out goes to my Eight-Legged Freaks members. That's mine and Valerie's group on YouTube. If you don't know about it, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm in the middle of breeding some Haplopelma species right now. I'm doing the H. lividums, aka cobalt blue, and it dawned on me that I have never seen a good video or even a care sheet based on true Haplopelma species keeping. It's so much easier than a lot of you are making it, so I just thought I'd jump in with this video, and I better hurry because he's tapping. I better jump in with the video and try to help everybody out. This is a 2.5 gallon marine land aquarium with a glass top. You don't have to use a glass top. You can use a screen top and just cover up the ventilation. I'll get to that in a minute. A lot of you are using these big 10-gallon, even 5-gallon tanks with like 12 inches of substrate for your Haplopelma lividum, and it's completely unnecessary. Let me go ahead and show you some basics about this. Like I said, it's a 2.5 gallon aquarium, and up front here I have Eco Earth. I'd say it's about 10% sand, playground sand. You can get that at Home Depot or Lowe's. Eco Earth, I only use Eco Earth as a substrate, and medium coarse vermiculite. Okay, up front here, as you can see, this is only about 2 inches, and it elevates up to about 4 inches in the back. You do not need 12 inches of substrate for a Haplopelma species. Based on my experience, I've kept them for roughly about, I guess, 8-9 years now, and you're going to throw them in a 10-gallon tank. Only thing they're ever going to need is about a 6-inch diameter of space. They will make their own elevated burrows. Let me go ahead and show you that. Alright, let me take the top off. There's my male right there getting ready. Here we go. So if you see here, he's sitting on top of this big tube. I didn't make that. What I do is, like I said, 2 inches in the front, 4 inches in the back. I'll take a slab of cork bark, and I'll sit it in here at an angle. Actually, you can kind of see the cork bark. It started way down here. It sat in there at about a 45-degree angle, and then I made a tiny little starter burrow with my fingers. And that's what they'll find. They'll find that little area that's already pre-started for them. It's already a dark, secure area for them to reach to immediately, and then they'll begin to dig their burrows from that point on. You can actually see her legs all the way down in there. I scared her off. She's been tapping and he's been tapping, but I'll get into that in a minute. And then eventually what they make is these really cool, perfectly round tunnels. And like I said, it's about 4 or 5 inches elevated off of the ground base where I started. So there you go. You don't need your 12 inches of substrate. You don't even need 8 inches of substrate. 2 inches in the front, 4 inches in the back. Add an angle and a 45-degree angle with the cork bark thrown in there. And they'll go ahead and build their door open. Let me go ahead and pan around here. As you can see, he's high up off the ground. He's on her burrow right there. And now let's get to some humidity issues. A lot of these, you can find these at PetSmart. It's just a glass top. It's marine land. You can see it right there. It comes with this neat little latch that you can put on here. And bam. A lot of people will argue that this is going to create fungus and mold. That's absolute BS. If you're actually staying up on your routine maintenance with your tarantulas like you all should be, this is plenty of air for a tarantula. They're not going to suffocate. They don't use that much air through their book lungs. And as far as the fungus and the mold issues, I have absolutely zero. I have 17 Haplopelma species ranging from Minax, Bachma, Albostriata, some of my favorites, and of course I've got way too many cobalt blues to even want to mention lividums. So, like I said, if you're doing routine maintenance, this should not be an issue. You should be doing this once every other day. at least every other day. Um, Provide them with a water dish. You can see the substrate is nice and damp. They do their webbing on the ground. You get true humidity. A lot of people have issues with getting actual true humidity. Condensation on the glass, that does not mean that you have humidity at all. Spraying down the substrate, that also does not mean you're getting humidity. Now, there are some major tarantula enthusiasts out there that I know a lot of you respect. I'm just going to throw a name out there, Rob C. He even mentioned in one of his videos, I love you, Rob, but he even mentioned in one of his videos that you should never use a heat pad or heat tape on any tarantula. I agree with that to a slim point. Now, if you're at an advanced level and you truly understand tarantulas, which you all should be, these aren't just pets that you keep. Part of the great part of the hobby is to understand how they work, how to keep them healthy, and it's just a great part of the hobby. It gives you a deeper understanding by studying them. It shouldn't take many of you, it shouldn't take anybody, the average person with average intelligence, that long to keep a tarantula healthy and alive, all the way up from eggs with legs to breeding and producing. You should know what you're doing. I do use heat tape. I use 3-inch flex watt heat tape that's actually kept with a thermostat unit. Don't use cheap thermostats like Runco's and all that crap. Use a nice one like Vivarium Electronics. Herpostat Pros are okay, with a reliable probe. Now, in my closet I have all these 2.5s and some other size tanks with some other species in there. And along the back edge, there's a 3-inch flex watt heat tape that goes like this. And these guys sit right there. The flex watt is moderated at right around 78, 80 degrees. The reason being is because if you have damp substrate, it's going to radiate heat through here. There's about a 1/2-inch gap along the bottom here. So you're not putting the tarantula right up against it. And even if it was, you regulate the temperature on the flex watt to about 78 to 80 degrees. It's not going to burn your tarantula, okay? Now, if you were to throw just this plain old Zoom Ed heat pad on there, a lot of those things are so inconsistent, you will burn your tarantula because they do go towards the heat. We've all noticed that, I hope, and they will get burned. Now, being invertebrates, they'll get burned, do damage to them before they actually feel any pain and retreat, even if they do retreat. So anyway, carrying on. Flex watt radiates heat through the substrate, which in turn gets stopped by the lack of ventilation through this. Now, it's not 100% lack of ventilation. As you see, it's kind of janky the way it sits on here. There is some airflow. Not to mention there's these little divider slots right here and here. And if you can hear that rattling back and forth, it's not airtight. But heat radiates through the substrate, then you get true humidity. Spraying down, not humidity, that's just making things damp and stagnant. Alright, so moving on. A lot of people think Haplopelma species are pet holes, therefore they don't get to enjoy actually keeping these beautiful creatures. I will show you how it ends up being that these are not pet holes. If you come right around here, you can see it from the side of the tank. This is an elevated spot right here. That's where the entry of a burrow is. Comes all the way down here at an angle. Bam, you can actually see her right through here. And then all the way through the back, you can see that. They dig until they can't dig anymore. So they're going to leave you a viewing area. And to tell you the truth, not just some, not a lot, but every single one of my Haplopelma species and fossorial species, I guess it's about 2 or 3 hours after the sun goes down, they're out and cruising around, looking for food, doing whatever they do. Some of them just come to the top of the burrows and show their legs. Some of them come over to the water bowl and get a drink. And then I've noticed a lot with the Minatrix, the Minax and the Bach Maws, they actually cruise around quite a bit. So the pet hole theory, out the window. That's BS. That's just excuses from those people who don't practice true husbandry and don't actually get to know their tarantulas. You should be like I said again, the great part of the hobby is understanding your tarantulas correctly. Okay, so let's move on to a quick point I have about breeding before this guy gets busy. Actually, I'm out of time, so I'll do the second part on breeding. Peace out.